Hey guys, wanted to take a couple of minutes here. I've actually had quite I've had quite a response on the Blue Cub STOL that I've been working on lately. I put up a video for it last week, just kind of doing an unveiling, and I think I've had 9 people ask me if I had PDF plans for this plane, or can I do a video that shows some measurements. Well, the PDF plans, I don't have any PDF plans or any kind of plans for this plane. This plane was made entirely just from a picture that I had in my head. I've flown quite a few planes over the last year and a half, 2 years, and the Blue Cub STOL is just a culmination of a lot of the planes that I really liked, and I wanted a bunch of these things all in one plane, and so that's how this plane turned out. So actually, I thought I'd take a couple of minutes, and because I don't have plans, we're going to stretch the measuring tape out over this thing, and I'm going to talk about a couple of things. And for the people that wanted to make their own plane like this, you're more than welcome to. And if you have any questions, feel free to get back with me. I certainly don't know it all, but if you guys got questions about how, what I did with this plane, feel free to ask. I'll do what I can to help you out. So we're gonna go ahead and get the camera put on the tripod, and we're gonna start talking about this plane a little bit. So just a second. Okay, so here we are. I've got my plane set up on the bench. And I tell you, I've really had a lot of great comments and compliments on this plane. I've even had a couple people, they commented on it, but they made a couple of suggestions. Some of them I'm not really interested in, but there's been a couple of them that I am interested in, and I'm going to try to incorporate a couple of those still into the plane. Since the weather here has been just so crappy lately, it's just cold, windy, rainy, a little bit of snow, whatever. Or when the weather is nice, like tomorrow's supposed to be up in the 50s. I got to work, so doesn't that figure? All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the plane a little bit here. The wing is probably the easiest part of the plane. So let me set this down here. Move this over here out of the way a little bit. The wing was actually, like I said, it's probably the easiest part of the whole plane. I gotta find my tape measure. There we go. Actually, the wing is, if you guys check out Experiment at Airlines on YouTube, you're going to look for the Armin wing. It's ARMIN. What it is, it's the guy's name is Ed. Absolutely a brilliant guy, with what he's done with the foam board and to make inexpensive RC planes. But what he calls the Armin wing is you take the foam board, and from your trailing edge of your wing coming forward and wrapping around back here to where the control surfaces are, that is one continuous piece of foam board folded here at the leading edge. And it really makes a nice clean rounded edge. The upper part is just so nice and smooth. It really looks pretty. I know I kind of uglied it up a little bit with the duct tape, but when it's in the air you won't see it. But to make the wing is so super simple. Take a look at his video. Summed up in a nutshell, what it is, the wing cord is 7 inches from here where the control surface starts and comes forward to the fold. It folds up around, and there's like 7¼ inches of foam up here or something like that. And then there's, I have 1.5 inch control surfaces. As far as the length of this wing, it actually started as a 60-inch wing. It's 2 pieces of foam board that's joined in the middle, and because I knew that my wing was going to be shorter than 60 inches, I made it a one-piece wing instead of a collapsible wing. Some of Experimental Airlines planes have a collapsible wing that folds here in the middle, but this one is solid. But I made this wing, let's see, total length on this one, it came out at 54 3/4. I was actually shooting for 54 1/2, but the reason why it came out just a little bit longer was when I capped these ends off, I took a scrap piece of foam board and I hot glued that to the end there, so that was solid. It just helped clean that up a little bit. What I did to get the curvature here, I actually used, get them. I actually used a pair of sheet metal dividers, or in the world of math and all, just a regular compass would work. But I don't have a compass that I really like, but I love this thing, I trust this thing, and it's been very, very good to me. But I took the wing cord, which was 7 inches, and let me see, try to reposition the camera here. That way you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to try not to make this video real long. But I took the wing cord, which was 7 inches, and then I cut that number in half so I get a radius. Yeah, that's about 3 1/2. I'm not going to get real exact, but and then I measured here in the middle and found my halfway point, and it was right here. I came back 3 1/2 inches from where I wanted, because like I said, I wanted 54 1/2, so I cut that in half, and it was 27 1/4, I believe is what half of that is. Right, 27 1/4 would be half of 54 1/2. So I made a mark right there, and then I used my dividers and made an arc on both sides lightly with the sharp end of my dividers, and then I took the edges and I ran it through my scroll saw. You could probably use a knife to cut through it. I figured I'd just use a scroll saw so my cut edges were somewhat straight up and down. Let's see. So we have a 54 and what did I say that was? 54 3/4 inch wingspan, 7 inch wing cord. My flaps, to determine the length of my flaps, I really didn't use any, special equation or whatever. I just kind of looked at it, and I wanted my flaps just a bit shorter than my aileron flaps. So the flaps on this plane turned out at 10 inches on both sides, obviously, and then my ailerons, they're about 13 3/4 from here out here to the tip. Something I did do to reinforce up here towards the leading edge and the trailing edge here, because I originally made this plane, I was going to use rubber bands and wrap around, like a lot of us do with our planes. I put a couple of gift cards here on the back and here on the front. It just helps protect the foam, and so it doesn't get compressed and all screwed up. Cut a hole here in the center for my servo leads to come together, and I just put my servos out. Let's see, this one, yeah, that one's centered out at 8 inches, and then the flap servo centered out at 8 inches, and the aileron servo centered out at 16 1/2 on both sides. And then run the wires up through here. I've got a Y connector to each one, and I've got them color coded so that it corresponds with the fuselage. That's okay. I think we're done talking about the wing. You know, for your control horns, you could probably use whatever you want. Popsicle sticks. I had some extra of these nylon control horns laying around. They're cleaner, so I used them. Okay, so we'll set this over here. I think we're done with the wing. For the plane, not real sure how to do this part, but I will try to do my best. Like I said, if you guys have any questions after this video, you know, certainly feel free to ask. You know, if you need me to repeat a measurement or double check on something, I'll certainly do it for you. Let's see. The actual length of the fuselage is 31 3/8. Now that's just on my plane, because like I said in the original video, I took the PDF plans from rchelp.com. I'll put a link in the bottom, but I took the plans from rchelp.com for the RCH Trainer version 2, because that's the version of the plane that we were working on at the time, and I made it. I think I kept the length of that fuselage, but I made it taller and I made it wider. So what did I say that was? 31 3/8 is the length of the sides, and for your tops and bottoms, they should be identical, I believe. If I can flip this over, because actually those might be a bit longer. No, they're about the same, 31 3/8. So for the length of the fuselage, I would just go with 31 1/2, 32, something like that, just for some nice round numbers. Just bear in mind that when you do your upper piece, when you make this fold here, that piece I think should be just a little bit longer, because when you make this bend here down from the windshield to the front compartment here, you're going to lose a little bit of length. So you know, go 32 inches and see what you come up with. For the top, it really wasn't that big a deal for me, because I knew I was cutting this section here out. So when I put this piece, I laid the whole thing in here and slid it back as far as it would go, and I knew that that's where it would end up. And then I took my wing and I set my wing on here, lined it up with the front. I made a little mark back here, and that's where I knew I could measure 1/4 of an inch forward of my mark and then make my cut. That way I knew where my compartment was going to be. And then for the front piece here, I laid the solid piece in here. I measured back, let's see, ooh, about threw the plane right on the floor. That'd be funny. I measured back there. That's 3 3/8. Well, not including the motor mount, so that's 3 inches, or not including the firewall. So from the windshield to the front of the foam is 3 inches. And then I made a cut in the foam, and I folded that up. The windshield, that's 2 1/2 inches. So 3 inches, make a cut on top. 2 1/2 inches, make a cut on the bottom, and then fold this down. Then you've got this part right here. You can glue that in place. Something I did do here towards the front, where all the electronics are and where my landing gear, all that meets in here, I actually did double up the foam in here. There's a foam board on the outside and another stretch of foam board. It goes from about here out to the front. I just wanted a little strength, you know, up in there. So we'll go ahead and pop this piece here off. And you can see I put a bulkhead here, and I put a bulkhead here. To get those measurements, that was just a little bit of trial and error. I just picked, you know, two random spots. You know, there wasn't any science to it. I said, okay, I'll put one here and I'll put one here. So that's just kind of trial and error. You know, put a couple scrap pieces in there and hot glue those in there. But before you glue those in there, make sure you cut out. Let's see if I can get this over here so the camera can see. Just make sure you cut out a couple of holes going through your bulkheads, the front one and your back one, so that your push rods can make it to the elevator and the rudder in the back. Also, in my case, I got some wire in there for the steerable tail wheel. Those go through that same hole. I did put, let me set this like this. I did put a servo tray in here. Again, that was, you know, personal preference. There's really no science to it. I just measured the width right here in front of my bulkhead, and then I think that's 4 inches or 4.5 inches. I came forward. That is actually a piece of wood, piece of balsa wood wrapped in duct tape, just so it's cleaner. But yeah, then I put my servos, the rudder and the elevator servo in there, and the rudder servo also has my wires for my steerable tail wheel. The rudder servo, I'm using a metal gear servo because it's controlling, you know, quite a bit back there. So, but the elevator is a plastic gear servo. I probably could have used a metal one there, but I ran out. Let's see. For my landing gear, let's see. Will that stay like that? There we go. Okay. For the landing gear, I just had a scrap piece of aluminum laying around. It's 1/8 of an inch thick and 1.5 inches wide. I don't know. It was about that long. I don't really remember how long, but I mean, I'm going to guesstimate. I mean, that's 1 1/8 inches, so times 2, it's 2 1/4. That's, sorry, this isn't real scientific, guys. It's about 4 inches. So when I say it's 2 1/4 plus 4, that's 8, so that's 10 1/4 plus this part here. That's about another, it's almost another 4. And that's probably about a 14-inch piece of aluminum. Just made some bends, you know. This here's 1 1/8 inches, and make a bend there, make a bend there. This was 4 something, and I made a bend there and made a bend there. I actually had to do that in the vise for most of it. But before you start bending your aluminum, put some forethought into it, because when you bend one end and you bend, let's see, because I had troubles, because of my vise. When I only have a 4-inch bench vise. I wish I had a bigger one. But when I got to do these 2 middle ones, I could actually only bend one of them so far. So I got it bent as far as I could, and then I take it out, and then I had to actually bend it myself by hand. And then you know, take it out of the vise, set it down on the table, make sure it's not twisted, because mine was twisted a little bit. So I had to manually get some of the twist out of it. And I put, there are 6 bolts, nuts and washers going from the inside to the outside. I do have, there's a thin piece of plywood down in there. What is rattling around in there? Oh, I think it's just a servo lead. But I put a thin piece of plywood down there, just an 1/8 inch plywood. About the width of my opening here, and I think about 2 inches wide. And I figured that would be plenty enough for the bolts to come through the bottom. And I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I went ahead and put the landing gear on the belly of the plane where I wanted it. And I took some duct tape and I duct taped it to the bottom. And then I just started drilling holes so it well, I had my holes drilled in this where I thought they would be. Then I put my landing gear on the plane, on the belly there, and then drilled through so I knew where my holes would come through on the other side. Put your plywood in there and tighten them up. Don't forget to use Loctite, because those, with a couple heavy landings, those will work their way out. So, shoot, what else is there? Oh, here on the nose, this whole nose piece, it's actually 2 pieces of that 1/8 inch plywood, and I have a third piece on the inside of the firewall, because the screws that I used to mount my motor to the firewall, I mean, they're a little longer than what I had hoped for, but it's what I had, so it's what I used. And to take up some of that space in there, I put another piece of plywood here in the nose. But it's just the dimensions of the nose all together. And hot glued those in place. Put your motor mount on there. I ran a hole down here through the nose to let the motor wires in. I cut these 2 breathing holes for air to get in. And actually, I something else on the tail. I know I'm kind of jumping around from subject to subject, and I apologize for that. But this right here, the tail is actually, it's open. It's not sealed off. It's not glued together. And I did that on purpose, because I knew that I was going to have those air vents in the front, and I wanted the air to flow through the plane, so it would come over the batteries and over the speed control and over everything that gets warm. So the air comes through the nose, past all that, through the bulkheads and out the tail. So it just, to keep the airflow through. I mean, it'll be a little constricted when it starts hitting these bulkheads, but the air should still flow through there. The tail section, this is actually the 3rd tail section that was on this plane. My first tail section, I got it all on there, and it was all covered. And I when I put the wing on the plane, I had the rounded edges, the rounded tips on the wing, and my tail was kind of trapezoidal look, and I didn't like it. I knew I wanted round, and I don't know why I did it to begin with the points and all, but I didn't like it. So I took those off. Fortunately enough, I didn't damage anything, taking them off, and I made some rounded horizontal stabilizers and vertical stabilizers. They were just like this, but they were a bit smaller, and I didn't really think about it, and so I put those on there, and I put the wing on there, and I was like, no, that's not too bad. And I ended up setting the plane aside because I had to go to work. And a couple of days later, I come back to the plane, and I'm looking at the tail section in proportion to the fuselage and the main wing, and the tail section was just way too small. I just knew it was too small. It didn't look right, and I wasn't happy. So I ripped that off, and I made them bigger, and now this is what I have. So the elevator, how am I going to do this? Poke that through there. Got a control horn there in the way. There we go. Okay. The horizontal stabilizer is 20 inches long. Get that back out of there. I tell you guys, I am just not prepared today, and I apologize for that. Okay, so we got 20 inches here in width. From the front to the back, that is 6 inches from the very tip up here to like the bottom part here. That is 6 inches. So if you were to cut out a rectangle that was 6 inches by 20 inches, you would be able to make this design for your horizontal stabilizer. My control surfaces on here, they are actually on my elevator. They're actually 2 1/4 inches, and I made that. I really wished I'd made a pattern for this, but I really didn't. I freehanded the whole thing. So, I mean, if you guys can see what I did, I mean, I kind of copied it actually from the J3 Piper Cub. I printed out a couple of pictures that I found on the internet, and then I freehanded what I thought looked right, and this is what I came up with. So 20 by 6, if you can make that design, you know, obviously your rudder goes in the middle. For the rudder, from the farthest back to the front is 9 3/4 from the tip all the way back here to the very edge of the tail, and from top to bottom is 7 inches, and the control surface on this rudder is 3 3/4 inches. I think, you know, it's what I wanted. I wanted big elevator surfaces. I wanted big rudder surfaces, and so that's what I've got. Something I did do, and I didn't cover it up. I probably could have, but you'll see I put a bamboo skewer right here. Oops, my cover's ready to fall off. But because it's a split tail elevator, I didn't want to run 2 elevator control horns. So I hot glued a bamboo skewer on this side, on the back side of the horizontal stabilizer, so it actually connects the 2 elevator flaps to make one. And then my control horn is mounted just behind the bamboo skewer. So when the control horn is actuated, the bamboo skewer is actuated, and therefore the elevator, both sides, are actuated. Getting that bamboo skewer in there was super simple. I just took I think it was an 11-inch piece of bamboo skewer, and just centered it in there and hot glued it in. Something else I did do, these edges here all the way around the elevator and the rudder, instead of having just bare foam right there, because you know where you cut your foam board, you got your paper on this side, paper on this side, that would be bare foam. I took my hot glue gun and I put a thin bead of hot glue all the way around, you know, wherever there was foam. And then I took my hot glue gun again, but on the side of the glue gun where, you know, because the glue would come out the tip, but the entire tip is warm. And I took the entire tip and I just kind of smoothed it back and forth on here, just like this, all the way around every bit of the surface where there was exposed foam. And by doing that, you're making the foam, you know, really hard right there. You're connecting the paper to everything. You're connecting the tape to everything. So hopefully nothing should peel away, and it's pretty good and rigid. Oh, here, I guess I forgot to mention these pieces here. There's 2 pieces here, 2 pieces here, and 2 pieces here. These are, yeah, these are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. I believe they're poplar pieces of board, just 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch poplar wood. I think I got it in a 3-foot section, but I just cut. Probably wasn't any rhyme or reason. I think I just went for whole numbers. There's 2 inches right there, right there. There's 3 inches right there, right there, and another 2 inches right there, right there. These were for these two pieces, and these 2 pieces are used to hold my back cover, because when I run my screws down through those, they go into this and keep that on there. And I put these 2 up here for the bolt-on wing mounts. Yeah, I put some thin 1/8 inch plywood up here. There's 1 on each side and 1 here on the roof. And I put a couple of blind nuts underneath there for the bolt-on wing. That part is actually going to get changed. I'm going to be working on that this coming week. I'll make an update on that. Let's see. Something I did here, I think I mentioned this in my previous video, for my the previous RCH trainer that I had, my engine compartment hatch actually opened off to the left. This one I made it so it opens straight open to the front. I buried 2 rare earth magnets in the cover and 2 of them here in the fuselage, so that closes. This is just a twisty tie. It's poked through, tied, glued, and taped, so it makes a nice handle there. I know I kind of bounced around an awful lot. I hope some of it made sense, for the people that were interested in this. I think it's going to be an outstanding plane. I can't wait to get out and fly it. Some of the specs on the electronics that are in it. The motor I got from Grayson Hobby. It's graysonhobby.com. It's a 2826-5 840 kV motor. It's supposed to be good for 3 to 5 cell lipos. According to the website, on a 3 cell lipo, it's recommended for a 14.7 prop. Well, I don't have a 14.7 prop. I have a 13.7. They also recommend, let's see, you could run the motor on a 4 cell for the 13.7, but I don't have any 4 cell batteries, so I might be investing in a couple 4 cell batteries. I'm going to try it on my 3 cell batteries and see what happens. But okay, so 840 kV motor, comes with a motor mount, comes with a prop adapter. Very cool. It's got a 60 amp speed control in there that is BEC opto, which means it doesn't have an internal BEC, which was fine with me because I knew that I was going to have a bunch of servos on this plane. So to power my receiver and my servos, I have a Castle Creations 10 amp external BEC. I currently have an orange 6-channel, or the orange RX 6-channel receiver with satellite receiver in here, but that is going to get swapped out. I tell you guys, I've changed my mind so many times on this plane, it's ridiculous, and I'm going to do it again. But I'm going to go ahead and take that 6-channel receiver out. I don't know if you can see this, but all these servo leads up here, all 6 channels on this receiver are being taken up, and I still need one more. I'll explain that one in a later video. So I'm going to be putting in my Spectrum AR 8000 8-channel receiver with satellite receiver. I do plan on getting an extension so that I can mount the satellite receiver elsewhere in the fuselage. I still plan on running the Orange RX 3-axis flight stabilizer. I got that from Hobby King, and I've got it all wired up to where it is working. I can turn it on and off from my transmitter using my gear channel. The servos, excuse me, little hiccup. I think the servos are rated at 10 grams and 11 gram. They're Metal Gear servos. I got them from Grayson Hobby. The plastic gear servo, I don't remember where I got that, sorry. So I guess that's really about it. I know I did an awful lot of rambling, and I apologize for that. I know I did a lot of bouncing around from subject to subject, and I apologize for that too. I guess I didn't really think this this video out very well, but it is what it is. So anyway, if you guys want to put some thought into making this plane, for the airframe, I probably got $5 in it, with a Dollar Tree foam board. The two bulkheads that are inside the fuselage, that's that heavy duty, real durable foam board. I got it from Office Depot, I believe, a long time ago. It was for a project I was working on, and I just had little scraps, and so I figured the bulkheads needed to be kind of strong, so I used that. Bamboo skewer for the to join your 2 elevator flaps. I think I got my bamboo skewers at the grocery store. I tried looking at the Dollar Tree, and they told me that bamboo skewers are a seasonal item and they don't have them anymore. I barbecue all year long. I do shish kebabs and steaks and chicken and burgers on the grill all year long. I mean, don't tell me it's seasonal. Anyway. So Yeah, and as far as the aluminum piece for the landing gear, got that at the local hardware store. That was cheap. The wheels on the plane, let me get this turned here. The wheels on the plane, like I said in my previous video, I don't remember the size on these. I don't know if it says on there. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't really say, but it's a squishy rubber. It's not, let me see, do I have, I'm gonna come over here with me. It's my messy workbench. Holy crap, I need to straighten this mess out. Here we go. Sorry, hang on, going for a ride. This is the style of wheel that I was gonna use. It is a dense foam, and you know the wheels do work really well. I mean, they go round, but I didn't like how they looked on this plane, and they simply weren't big enough, as you can see. I mean, this isn't the landing gear that I was going to use, but it's the size wheels that I was going to use, and I didn't like the size. I mean, actually, if I could find a size bigger than this, I'd like to find them and put them on this, because I mean, it's a bigger plane, so I'd like to have bigger wheels. Personal preference, but it's kind of a squishy rubber, and on the packaging it says low bounce. So I'm hoping that when I come pogoing this thing in, it's not going to bounce an awful lot. So, all right. Hope you guys actually sat through this whole thing. I know I rambled on forever and a day. Like I said, I apologize for that. If you guys have any questions, you know, go ahead and fire them away. I'll certainly help you out as best I can. Like I said, for the wing, check out Experimental Airlines and how to make the wing. It's the Armin wing, ARMIN. It's super simple to make, and if you take your time and do it right, the wing really does come out nice, and you'll certainly appreciate the final result. I mean, I've got Armin wing on this plane, on my motor glider, on my my canard. What else? I know I've got Armin wing. I've got another wing over there that's got the Armin wing. That plane back there has got the Armin wing. There's my Albatross. That has a modified version of the Armin wing. But the Armin wing is just an awesome and effective airfoil. Okay, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys listening. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them at me. I'll do what I can to help you out. So, all right, you guys take care.